If there is one mock draft that you should listen to, Broncos country, it is this one. But before we talk about that, guys, I want to shout out the affiliate partner for today's video, Whitebeard Signworks. Use code BS30, link in the description below to save $30 off your first purchase on NFL LED team logo signs, just like this really cool sign behind me. Again, that is code BS30, link in the description below to save $30 off your first purchase from Whitebeard Signworks. Thank you so much to them, and now back to your regularly scheduled content. If there is one undisputed GOAT of NFL mock drafts, it is not Mel Kiper. It is Dane Brugler of The Athletic. He is extraordinarily plugged into the NFL. Media respects the hell out of him, and he is usually really accurate in terms of his hit rate on his mock drafts. So if there is only one mock draft out there to pay attention to, besides the official Broncos Syndicate mock draft that'll come out the day before the draft, it is Dane Brugler's mock draft. And Nick Kendall of Mile High Huddle, as we go ahead and bring in this article, actually compiled Brugler's mock draft, his 7-round mock draft for the Denver Broncos together, which ordinarily would have been behind a paywall. So shout out to Nick for doing that and putting it in this Mile High Huddle article here. And with the 20th overall pick, the Denver Broncos select Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. Listen, I'm on the record stating that I'm not the hugest fan of drafting Omarion Hampton in the first round. I've got a high second round grade on him. But if he's Sean Payton's guy, he's Sean Payton's guy. He's an excellent downhill runner, very physical, very aggressive with his run style. I think that he's a more than adequate pass blocker and receiver out of the backfield. He doesn't have the elite receiving traits that would make him a joker by Sean Payton's definition, but he is a good receiving running back that could get the job done in that area of his game. So at the end of the day, I'm not the highest on Omarion Hampton. I am fully on the record saying that. But if he is the guy for Sean Payton, then he is the guy for Sean Payton, and I trust him because he has not let us down so far. Let's get into the rest of the draft, though, where the meat and potatoes really is. And for me, the rest of the draft really makes up for, honestly, the not so great pick, in my opinion, in taking Omarion Hampton, because there are some of my favorite players here in the 2nd through 6th round. The Denver Broncos do not have a 7th round pick, but they do have 3 6th round picks. In the 2nd round, they go with Jordan Burch, interior defensive lineman out of Oregon. He's 6'4", 279 pounds. So he would factor to play as a defensive end in this 3-4 Vance Joseph defense. I feel like he would make some excellent depth behind Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers. The depth at those positions are a little bit lacking because you can't factor in Malcolm Roach into that math. He's a nose tackle. He is not a defensive end. So right now you're looking at Yoma Uwazurike and Jordan Jackson as your defensive end depth. You need guys who can fill that role, and I do think Jordan Burch out of Oregon would be able to do that. Then the Denver Broncos dip back into the Oregon well, and they fill their inline tight end need with Terrence Ferguson, Bo Nix's former teammate, and he's also a Denver native. So that would be a really cool storyline, bringing him back to play for his hometown team, and he would fill a very important role in this offense. He would be your top inline tight end, and then you'd have Evan Ingram as your big slot, your H tight end, your move tight end, but the guy who would play the traditional inline Y tight end position would be Terrence Ferguson, maybe after a little bit of time behind Adam Troutman. Then in the 4th round, the Denver Broncos get a player that I really like, Aeneas Peebles, interior defensive lineman out of Virginia Tech. He's 6'1", 288 pounds, I believe, so slightly undersized, I will say that, but he plays very aggressive, has a great pad level, Senior Bowl All-Star Aeneas Peebles. I'm a big fan of his game, and getting him in the 4th round could be really good value for the Denver Broncos, and they would double up on interior defensive line with Jordan Burch and Aeneas Peebles. I would be all for that. Then they go with Drew Kendall in the 6th round, center out of Boston College. The position is not listed there. But Drew Kendall would provide some depth at the center position and would give Alex Forsythe some competition there behind Luke Wattenberg. The Broncos like Wattenberg as their starter, but Forsythe needs some competition, so Kendall would fill that role. Then they get one of my other favorite players in round 6 of Dane Brugler's mock draft, or in their second pick of round 6, Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver out of Miami, one of Cam Ward's top targets last year. I think he profiles really well as a slot receiver in the NFL. He's going to fall because he had a subpar 40 time, but I'm not somebody who puts a lot of stock into 40 times. I think that getting Xavier Restrepo in round 6 would be extraordinarily good value that would round out the Denver Broncos wide receiver depth. And then finally, at number 208 overall, with their final 6th round pick, they would select Marcus Harris, the cornerback out of California. I don't know a lot about him, admittedly, but I do believe that the Denver Broncos are looking to add one more corner to the room just to round out their depth. They're probably not going to bring Damari Mathis back long term, so I do believe they want some more depth there, and Marcus Harris could provide it. I think this would be an excellent draft haul for the Denver Broncos, and even though I'm not the highest on Omari and Hampton, let's just say they swap it for Travion Henderson, who I'm a lot higher on, and they get the rest of this draft haul. I would give that an A+ draft grade for the Denver Broncos if they came away with a haul like this. This would be absolutely elite, and I actually believe that George Payton and Sean Payton could pull off something very similar to this. I think this draft class is loaded at positions that the Denver Broncos need to get better at, and that is very good news for this team, and Dane Brugler seems to agree with that assessment. Alright guys, be sure to leave a like on this video as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. And let me know in the comment section below, guys, how do you feel about this draft class, and how would you feel if the Denver Broncos were to come away with Omari and Hampton in the first round, and a guy like Terrence Ferguson, a guy like Aeneas Peebles, and the Oregon defensive lineman as well. I think this could be a really, really excellent draft class for the Denver Broncos. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, Broncos country. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. Jordan Burch. I do not know why I had a brain fart on his name there, but Jordan Burch, the interior defensive lineman out of Oregon. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.